Think about the last time someone walked into a room and something just shifted. You didn't know their job title, you didn't know their salary, you didn't even know their name yet, but something about the way they carried themselves made everyone quietly, almost instinctively, pay attention. And then think about the opposite. Someone who tries really, really hard to be respected. They talk loudly, they interrupt, they make sure you know everything they've ever accomplished before you've even shaken hands. And somehow, the harder they try, the less you trust them. Isn't that strange? The person who chases respect rarely gets it, and the person who seems almost indifferent to it, they have it without even asking. So what is actually going on in the brain when we decide whether someone deserves our respect? Because I promise you, it's not what most people think. Here's what most people believe: that respect comes from achievement, from credentials, from being the loudest, the most confident person in the room. And look, those things don't hurt, but they're not the mechanism. They're the costume, not the person wearing it. The actual psychological engine behind respect is something far more subtle, and once you see it, you genuinely cannot unsee it. It comes down to something researchers call self-congruence, the alignment between who you actually are and how you show up in the world. And there's a fascinating study out of the University of California that found people can detect inauthenticity in another person within the first few seconds of interaction. Not consciously necessarily. Your prefrontal cortex isn't sitting there writing a report, but your amygdala, the ancient emotional threat-detecting part of your brain, is running a background scan the entire time, and it is shockingly good at noticing when someone's performance doesn't match their inner state. Let me give you a picture of what this looks like in real life. Imagine you're at a work meeting, and there are two managers in the room. The first one comes in, sits down, and immediately starts talking about their track record, their experience, subtly steering every sentence back towards why you should listen to them. The second one comes in, sits down, asks a genuinely curious question, and then, and this is the part that seems almost counterintuitive, they pause. They wait. They're comfortable with silence in a way that says, I don't need to fill every moment with proof of my worth. Which one do you trust more? Almost everyone says the second. And it's not because the second one is smarter or more accomplished, it's because their nervous system is calm, and calm is contagious. This is where neuroscience gets genuinely beautiful. When you're around someone who is regulated, meaning their emotional state is stable and grounded, your mirror neurons pick that up. Your brain literally begins to sync with theirs. It's called neural resonance, and it's the same reason a good therapist makes you feel safe before you've even said a word, or why some teachers make you want to learn just by walking into the classroom. The respect you feel for them is partially your own nervous system saying, this person is safe to follow. And here's the twist that most self-help advice completely misses. You cannot manufacture this. You cannot fake a regulated nervous system. You can fake confidence for about 6 minutes before the cracks start showing. You can rehearse your handshake and your eye contact and your power poses, and people will still sense something slightly off, like a painting hung just 1 degree crooked. What you can do, and this is the actual trick, is work on the thing underneath, the internal state, the relationship you have with your own uncertainty. Because here's the real psychology of respect. People don't respect people who have no doubts. They respect people who have doubts and act anyway, who are wrong sometimes and say so without their whole identity collapsing, who can sit in a conversation and genuinely not know the answer without panicking. Psychologists call this epistemic humility, and studies consistently show it's one of the highest predictors of perceived leadership quality, not certainty, humility paired with follow-through. Think about someone in your life, maybe a parent, a teacher, an old friend, who you genuinely respected, not admired from a distance, but actually respected, trusted, listened to. I'd be willing to bet they weren't the most decorated person you knew. They were probably someone who was honest with you even when it was uncomfortable, who kept their word quietly without announcing it, who treated the person with the least status in the room the same way they treated the person with the most. That last one, that consistency, that behavioral integrity when no one important is watching, is the single most powerful signal of trustworthiness the human brain knows how to read. There's a concept in social psychology called the halo effect, but there's a darker twin almost nobody talks about, the horn effect. The moment someone catches you being one person in public and another person in private, the horn effect kicks in, and it is almost irreversible. One inconsistency can undo years of reputation building, and your brain knows this about other people, which is why it's scanning for it constantly. So what does this actually mean for you right now? It means the psychology trick isn't a trick at all. It's a practice. It's the practice of closing the gap between who you are and how you show up. It's pausing before you react instead of performing a reaction. It's admitting you don't know something instead of bluffing your way through and hoping nobody notices. It's keeping the small promises, the ones no one else is tracking because you are tracking them. And your behavior is training people's nervous systems to either trust you or quietly keep their guard up around you. Respect isn't taken. It isn't performed. It accumulates quietly in the space between what you say and what you actually do. And the most counterintuitive thing about it is that the moment you stop needing it, not pretending to not need it, but actually releasing the grip, is often the exact moment it starts finding you. If something in this landed for you, I genuinely love to know what it was. Drop it in the comments, not just because it helps the channel, but because the conversation down there is usually where the most honest, interesting stuff happens. And if you're curious about the psychology of how people read status versus respect, because they're wildly different things, that video is coming next. I'll see you there.